Hey everybody, Sean here with Fist Bump Media, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a new update some of you are seeing, which is the WordPress 5.0. That includes the new Gutenberg text editor. So some of you may have logged into your website today, you went to go write a new post, and noticed that everything looks a little bit different on the post page, or even the pages. If you're adding a new page or editing a page, the text editor has changed significantly. And so I wanted to take a moment just to show everybody what that looks like, what all the features are, and how you can kind of use it, get you started a little bit faster. Obviously, some of this is just going to be, you're just going to have to go in and play with a little bit to understand it and see how it works. Also, I wanted to touch base on some of the updates to the Divi theme and their new builder that they have kind of changed a little bit. It's not a big change, but something that you may be interested in if you use Divi. I know a lot of our clients have that included with their package. So let's get right to it. So first, I just wanted to show you, if you are one of those people that just doesn't want to change to the new editor, you like the old editor, you're used to it, and you're comfortable with how it works, there's an easy way just to go back to that editor and not have to worry about making any changes to the new editor and figuring out a whole new system. So to do that, you can just go in here, you type in, go to plugins and add new, and then search for Classic Editor. And we're going to use this one right here. It's called Classic Editor. You can install it and then activate it, and then that will give you your Classic Editor again. It'll take away the Gutenberg Editor. I'm not going to activate it right now because I want to show you what that looks like. So we're going to jump over here and we're going to take a look at the Gutenberg Editor. So we'll go right here. Okay, so this is the new interface. I already added a title just prior to starting this video, but we'll start from the top. So if we go from the top left, you're going to have this add a block button. You also get that down here, right here in this, on your first block. So this is the initial block, which starts out as a paragraph, but you can change it to anything you want. You can go in, you can add an image, select that image, write a caption, and there you go. Super simple. If you didn't like your caption, you can hit undo. That's what the next button does, redo. That's pretty nice to have that up there just real quick. If you made an error or something, you can just go back to what it was. Content structure, that's going to give you all your, how many words you have, the headings, paragraphs, blocks. Just kind of gives you a layout of how much information you have on the page if you're looking to hit a certain word count, or making sure you have enough headings, things like that. This block navigation, that's going to give you, if you have a ton of blocks, so imagine right now we only have the one, we have the image that we added, but imagine if you added a bunch more and you had, let's say, another paragraph, and then we wanted to add let's say a quote. So then you got those things there, and you can go up here and you can jump to those specific items quickly. So if you want to go edit your paragraph, you hit that, it takes you right to it. If you want to edit that quote, it'll take you right to that quote and highlight it. This Divi Builder button, you may or may not have that. Just depends on if you have the Divi theme installed on your website. I know some of you use other themes, so you wouldn't have that button. So we'll skip it. We can switch to a draft instead of, right now I have it published, just to show you some certain features, but you can switch it back to a draft. You can preview your page. This gives you a pretty good preview of it, but if you hit that, it's going to take you essentially to the website with the sidebar and everything, so you'll see exactly how it will look on your website. Update obviously updates your page. This little cogwheel here is going to open or close this side menu. So if you click that, side menu closes. If you click it again, it comes back open. This will give you a lot of their features, so you probably just want to leave it open. And then this final menu. So this final menu, what it does is it has a few different options. You have your top toolbar. So what that means is that right here we have all these different paragraphs, center your paragraphs or your text, bold, italics. This little menu, if we click the top toolbar, it moves everything up here to the top. So I'm going to leave it back where it was. Spotlight mode, that's just going to spotlight whatever you're working on at the moment. So if you're working on a picture, it'll highlight the picture and it makes everything else kind of faded out. If you work on the quote, see how it faded out the picture. So it kind of helps you just focus on what you're working on. Full screen mode is going to get rid of these black bars on the sides, give you a full screen, just distraction-free environment to work on a blog post if that's what you're working on. Visual editor is what we're looking at. The code editor is going to allow you to edit the code. Pretty straightforward. If you wanted to get in and change something that you just couldn't figure out how to do through the visual editor, there's that option as well. And then manage all reusable blocks. That's going to be if you have blocks that you saved, you can edit or you can manage them there. So you can save some of these if you really like this picture and caption layout and you wanted to use it elsewhere. There's ways to save that. Now, keyboard shortcuts. Here's all the keyboard shortcuts. I'll just a quick little disclaimer with this. Be careful if some of these keyboard shortcuts are also tied to other keyboard shortcuts for applications or programs you have open on your computer. It may not do what you think it's going to do. But if it does, then that's a great tool and it can make your workflow a little bit faster. Copy all content, that's going to just copy the whole page and you can move it to a different page if that's what you need to do. Okay, moving down, you have your title. When you type your title in, it also pops up this little thing here so you can change your slug. So if you want to change this to home, you can do that or whatever it is. So but we're just going to leave it as is. And then we already went over inserting a block. If you need to add more, you'll have this little plus down here. You can add more blocks as you move down. Quickly to go through some of these, you have a paragraph, you have images, quotes. These are all pretty straightforward. I think everybody can kind of figure out and play with them. You know, open up a test page, put it on private, and just play with some of these different blocks, see what they do and how to work with them. They're pretty neat. Inline image, that's going to allow you to put an image in line with your text. So if you want to wrap text around a picture or something, this would be a good tool for that. Common blocks are just the most common ones that you use. Formatting will give you things like you can put in custom HTML or certain code. This one here is the classic editor, and there's a reason we might use that. So if you have a plugin that maybe isn't quite updated for Gutenberg yet, and you used to have a little button at the top of your old text editor that you inserted code with, like sometimes there's extra little buttons that you put in this toolbar. Until the developer updates it to Gutenberg, that won't be as available. So what you can do is just open the classic editor. You can insert whatever you need up here, and it'll be on your page just as you normally would. So you didn't lose any functionality. You just have to kind of go about getting there a little bit different way. Going on down through more blocks. We did that one. And I'm not going to go through all these, but there's columns. So this is going to give you the option to set 2-3 columns, and you can do paragraph side by side or an image and a paragraph next to it, or however you want to do it. So neat little bunch of tools there. I imagine all of those are going to continue to grow as plugin developers add their content in here. This one's kind of neat. You can embed a YouTube video right there, but just clicking that and adding the video. Same with all these Instagram and all that stuff. So I encourage you guys to go take a look at it, practice with it, play with it a little bit on something that you're not going to publish maybe, and just see what all those little blocks do and how you can use them the best. Okay, so when we go into a paragraph, also one thing, you're going to be able to change some of the content over here. You can change the size of your text, that kind of thing. And then I believe you can do the drop cap, that kind of stuff. Color settings, you can change the color, background colors, text colors. And then there's advanced options, which I think, it's just the CSS class. So if you had custom CSS, you can put your own class in here for the different block items, and then it will fetch that. So, but if you're not in a block, so then we're also going to be on this just document tab on the right side. And this will look pretty familiar to the old setup. You'll have the visibility, which is either public, private, or password. You can backdate your thing, your items. You can choose the author. Permalinks, you can change your permalink there as well as up here on the title page. Set featured image, that's always been here on the right hand side. Excerpts, discussions, allow comments, page attributes, and this you probably won't have unless you have the Divi Builder. So that's a quick overview of how to use the Gutenberg text editor. Also, this stuff down here you may not have, just depending on what plugins you have. If you have Yoast, I think Yoast will still be down here, and some of the other plugins, but it just depends on your setup in particular. It'll probably look a little bit different, but this portion right here in the middle and these things over here should be about the same as what you'll have. So that's a quick overview of the Gutenberg editor. And like I said, if you're not interested in using it, or you're not quite ready, you don't have time, Christmas is coming up and you just want to focus on getting your posts out, and you like the old editor, you can use that classic editor plugin, and that will allow you to do that. So real quick, I'm going to show you also the new Divi Builder and some of the changes they made. If you don't have Divi, you can probably end the video here, because the rest of this will just be about that. So with the new Gutenberg changes, they've kind of updated Divi as well, and they've added some functionality and a little bit of changes on how it works. Just a real quick overview of that. So if we go out of here, I think it's going to ask me to save, but we don't need to worry about that. And we go into Divi and then theme options. You can go over here to Builder, Advanced, and then right here it says enable the latest Builder experience. I think that might be enacted by default when you update. I'm not certain. But if it is, you also have to enable, if you want to use this latest Builder experience, you also have to enable the classic editor. So this does the same thing as that plugin I was talking about earlier, where it takes away the Gutenberg editor because of because the Divi Builder can't quite work over top of that. So you have to revert back to the classic editor, and you can enable the new Divi Builder experience. Otherwise, it's going to make you edit just on the front end, which can be, sometimes it's a little slow with the older one. This new one, they've made it way faster. So I'll show you that right now. So we'll enable the classic editor. We'll enable the latest Builder experience, save changes. Let me go back over to my pages here. And Divi test page. Okay, so this is what the backend looks like. It should look pretty familiar for anybody that's used the Divi Builder before. If you're building a page or even a post, I mean, it'll look kind of similar to this if you're doing a post. Just depends on how you have it laid out. But the nice update for it, they've just made everything a little bit quicker, a little snappier. You can move things around pretty quickly, and so, but the functionality wise, it should look fairly the same. They've added a few new little tweaks in here. I'm not going to go through all of those right now, but you should check it out, see what you think about all the new updates that they've done. The main thing I just wanted to show you is that now, instead of having to click this build on the front end, or we used to have the enable or edit and visual builder, used to have that button up here at the top. Now we have this blue button, or you can click over here on the right, and instead of going to the front end, you can look exactly what your website's going to look like. You can do that right here from the back of your website. And they've made a bunch of updates to it to where it actually includes everything that would be on the website, including, I mean, even this is a little JavaScript chat plugin we have on this site right now that we're testing. But it kind of brings in all the elements and puts it exactly how it'll look. And then you can still edit it right from within the back end of your website, essentially. But it looks like the front end. So that's a pretty neat addition. So like I said, that's pretty much it. There's some other changes that they've made. You can still go to tablet mode or phone mode, or you can go back to the regular block builder if you just click that button there. So, alrighty, I think that's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to always hit us up here at the Contact Fist Bump Media support, or email us at support@fistbumpmedia.com. I know that some of these changes are new to everybody, and there will be some questions and some things to work through. Sometimes our plugins may not play nicely with the update as well, so we'll have to work through some of that as it comes. So don't hesitate to contact us if you need it. And that's about it. All right, take care.